after telling Shibun's story in the previous video. If you haven't watched it yet, feel free to click on the link to enjoy it. Next, we are about to start the first part of Batu's story. Exciting content is about to unfold, so please stay tuned. In the spring of 1209, a wind blew across the endless grassland, rustling each blade of grass and making its way into every felt tent, bringing the message of new life. In a small felt tent on the Mongolian plains, Yuki Kachikaten was in a tug of war with death. She was the daughter of Anshan Nyan of the Hongjila tribe, who was married to Jochi, becoming the wife of Genghis Khan's eldest son, Temujin. During these spring days, Yuki Kachikaten's body was tormented by the pains of giving birth, her sweat soaking through the sheets and dampening her hair, yet her face, despite the evident pain, reflected determination and resilience. It was a maternal tenacity, a commitment and anticipation for the life yet to come. She bit her lower lip, tears falling. But she never uttered a sound. Jochi stood outside the tent, listening to the low murmurs and quick breaths coming from within. His heart ached as if being torn apart by a pack of wolves. His big hand gripped the horsewhip in his hand, his knuckles white from effort. This Jochi, Genghis Khan's eldest son, was filled with emotion and fear. For the first time, he felt so helpless, so anxious. Finally, after a long outcry, a baby's cry came from within the tent. Jochi's tension instantly loosened. He knew his son had come into this world. He rushed into the tent, and what he saw was a weary but smiling Yuki Kachikaten and the small life in her arms. Batu, Jochi whispered. This was his second son, their hope, the future of Mongolia. On the Mongolian plains, the deep bond between brothers is always moving. Batu and Water were such brothers. Not only were they as close as siblings, but they also respected and understood each other, sharing a profound love. Batu had deep, night sky-like eyes and a mature, stable demeanor, while Water had a congenial character from birth. Watching his younger brother, who had a unique perspective and strategic vision, Water couldn't help but think his talents were far inferior to his brother's. He knew that it was his brother who was truly capable of leading their tribe. However, when the spring of 1225 came, Jochi passed away. The loss of Jochi deeply saddened both Batu and Water, but life had to go on, and the Jochi Olis needed a new leader. Water, looking at the silent Batu, took a deep breath. He decided to step aside and let his brother succeed their father. He believed that only Batu could lead their tribe towards a better future. He announced to the people of the tribe, "Let us welcome our new leader, my younger brother, Batu." The crowd cheered in unison. They trusted Jochi's choice, and they believed more that Batu could bring them new hope. The news of Genghis Khan's death in 1227 came like a storm, shocking the entire Mongolian grasslands. Genghis Khan, the great leader who once led the Mongol Empire from nothing to greatness with unwavering determination and profound wisdom. His death brought pain to everyone. Batu sat in the spacious tent, his heart filled with grief. He not only lost a great monarch but also a wise elder. He knew this was the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. To hold the election of the new leader, he led the princes of the Jochi lineage to the distant Kuruldoy by the Golden River. From afar, they could see the endless crowd, every face carved with deep grief, but also with a firm determination. At the Kuruldoy, everyone took turns to express their expectations for the new leader. Batu and the princes of the Jochi lineage decided to nominate Gagedai as the new Khan. Batu stood up. His firm voice echoed through the whole venue. "I nominate Gagedai as the new Khan. His wisdom, courage, and determination give us reason to believe that he can continue to lead our Mongol Empire forward and realize our great dreams." 2 years after the Kuruldoy in 1229, Gagedai officially ascended to the throne and became the great Khan of the Mongols, ushering in a new era. Batu and the other princes loyally assisted him, and together they strode towards a stronger future for the Mongol Empire. On a cold day in 1235, Gagedai summoned all the royals to the Grand Kuruldoy. In the flickering light of the hearth, he carefully read every city and river on the map, deciding their next targets: the Kipchaks, Volga Bulgars, the Kingdom of Poland, and the Kingdom of Hungary. Gageta looked towards Batu in the middle of the tent. His eyes filled with respect and trust. "Batu," he said, "you are the leader among princes. You will lead our army with Subutai, Vidar, Kaidan, and Menki to wage war in the west." Batu bowed his head in agreement to his command. He knew he was about to shoulder a major task, leading an army of 150,000. To embark on a campaign about power, honor, and life and death. He glanced at the targets on the map, then turned to Menki and the others, beginning to plan their route and strategy. In the autumn of the following year, Batu and the princes met at the Ural River, their eyes focused on the distant west, filled with glory and challenges. Batu sent Subutai to attack Volga and other nations, and ordered Menki to attack the Kipchaks. He himself led the princes to conquer Moldova. In the autumn of 1236, Batu met with his princes by the Ural River, their faces filled with determination and resolve. The river flowed slowly, seemingly telling a tale of an imminent war. As the early autumn leaves fell, raising clouds of dust, Subutai, the vanguard general, had already ridden his dark warhorse, leading the cavalry in the direction of Volga. His figure danced in the wind, like a sharp arrow, pointing directly to the west. In the winter of the same year, the cold wind was biting. Yet Menki, in this frozen world, led his soldiers on a campaign against the Kipchaks. Their target was the lower reaches of the tidal river, where the snow and wind were harsh and the cold was extreme. However, the leader of the Kipchaks, a man named Bokman, did not show weakness to them. He and his men constantly attacked the Mongol army. Like a fierce beast in the snow, vicious and brave. Every time he appeared, it made the cold winter a few degrees colder. In the spring of 1237, the warm sun shone on the earth, and the harsh winter scenery gradually faded, however, for the Mongol Empire. This was not a peaceful start because a new war was about to ignite again. Subutai, the vanguard general, led his army from Volga to the south, intending to reinforce Menki, who was attacking the Kipchaks. The news spread quickly like lightning. Bokman, the leader of the Kipchaks, was greatly alarmed when he heard the news. He had no way to escape and had to flee into the vast Caspian Sea. Menki pursued him mercilessly, leading his troops across the highlands like a lion, hunting Bokman and strangling him. In the autumn of that year, the Mongol army was stationed in Volga, Bulgaria, and the shadow of war loomed over this nation. By the end of the year, more than 10 cities, including Ryazan and Kolomna, had fallen in succession under the iron tide of the Mongol army, but the momentum of the Mongols did not stop there. In the autumn of the same year, when the rivers of Rus were frozen by ice and snow, the Mongol Empire took the opportunity to launch a large-scale attack. In just 2 months, they successively captured more than 10 cities, including Ryazan, Moscow, and Vladimir. The army of Grand Prince Yuri II of Vladimir was encircled by the Mongol forces at the Sit River, with no way out. In the end, the Mongol army returned to the lower Volga River to rest and recuperate. The soldiers grazed on the grasslands, preparing for the next battle. In the spring of 1238, as the vibrant green sprouts pushed their way out of the earth, the war hooves of the Mongol Empire once again swept across the land. Batu sat in command, his armies sweeping across cities like Moscow, Vladimir, and over 10 others like a hurricane. They were cold and merciless, with no resistance able to halt their advance. Then, like predators, they suddenly attacked the camp of the Grand Duke of Vladimir on the banks of the City River, annihilating it. At that moment, the riverside scenery became bleak and helpless, with only the scent of death slowly spreading in the wind. The shadow of war once again loomed over this land, and no one could escape this catastrophe. With the sound of warhorses' hooves, Batu's troops marched towards Novgorod, the ancient capital of the Kievan Rus, their inspiring momentum making it impossible to look directly at them. However, when they were about 50 kilometers from the city, Batu suddenly changed his strategy, ordering the army to divert south and march north to the Caucasus. This sudden change was surprising, but the soldiers of the Mongol army did not hesitate for a moment. They turned their horses, reorganized their formations, and charged towards their new target. In 1239, the world was once again enveloped in the flames of war. While Monkey and Gayak led their troops to suppress the Sud rebellion, Batu chose a different way to manage his army. He did not choose to attack immediately, but chose to methodically conquer the lands east of the Volga River. Each of his steps was precise and powerful, and every decision embodied his deep thought and strategy. While he was resting his troops on the east bank of the Volga River, his gaze was always on the distance. He knew a bigger battle was coming, and he needed to prepare his troops in the best condition to face this test. In the winter of that year, when the wind was bitterly cold and the earth frozen, Batu made his move. He led his troops, charged straight into the southern Volhynia, conquering cities like Khmelnytsky and Chernihiv. Batu's troops swept across the land like a fierce fire, their bravery and determination instilling fear in every enemy. In the next video, we will share the second part of Batu's story. Please look forward to the content of the next episode. If you like this story, please help us by subscribing and sharing. Thank you.